Hello there, good morning. Okay. Hello, welcome everyone. Yes, welcome everyone, good morning. This is Mr. Shang from the Admission Department of Mantissa College. So thank you for coming in for the Master's Trial Class. So we shall wait for a few minutes, just waiting for the rest of the students or delegates to come in. So basically this trial class, it will take approximately 2 hours. So my part is the first part, whereby I'm going to brief everyone a little bit further on this program, the details, like what you want to do a master's, what can you learn out of it, the case study learning methods, for example, and later on in the part 2, we will go through the class and the session. Yeah. So we just wait for a few minutes for the rest of the delegates to come in. Meanwhile, everyone, if you have any questions, you can always just write in the comment sections below. I'll be more than happy to help or assist or answer any questions you have in mind. Okay, we'll just wait for a few minutes for the rest of the delegates to come in, and then we will start the session soon. Okay. Okay, good morning, everyone. Yes, just feel free to write in any comments in the sections, and then I'll be more than happy to assist in all the questions you have in today's session. Okay, so we'll just wait for a few more minutes, and then we will start the session soon, and then you will have a clearer understanding about this program after this briefing. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right then. So without further ado, let us start and begins the sessions, and then hopefully at the end of this 1 hour briefing under my part, you will have a clear understanding on why should you take a master's program, together with what are the benefits that you can learn out of it in terms of your career enhancement, or even the jobs opportunity that is awaiting for you in ahead. So thank you guys. Good morning. I'm Mr. Shang, the Admission Team Department of Mantissa College. So today, welcome and good morning, everyone, to the MBA Trial Class. So just to do a quick check before I start my session, I would like to check if everyone can hear me clearly. If you have any questions throughout this time, you can just feel free to comment in the sections, and then I'll be more than happy to assist you in the questions. So based on today's meeting, today's briefing, I'm going to guide you through on certain aspects. So I'm going to break down my sections into 3 components. So basically the first component, I'll be briefing through a little bit background about Mantissa College. This is where we are from, so that you have a clear understanding on what we have achieved, our track records, and so forth. And other than that, we will also talk a little bit further on our partner university. This is because at the end of these qualifications, you will be receiving these master's certifications from the French awarded university. So I believe that it is very much important for you to know some backgrounds, a little bit history on this university, to boost up some of the confidence in it. In the part 2 of this session, I'm going to also talk a little bit on the reasons why you should take out an MBA, and why do all our students are taking out an MBA. And of course, what is so unique about our offering? So basically, we will touch a little bit on the case study learning methods, This is a basic, unique learning methods that is delivered at our institution. I will go through with the details on what is this case study learning methods and how these case study learning methods actually differentiate the master's program that we are offering now compared to the other peers. And then, of course, we'll also talk a little bit on the guidelines. Now, later on, if you choose to come in with us in the program, and it is always good for us to talk a little bit further on the guidelines so that you know what are the formats, and how to actually learn from the case study. Yeah. So in the part 2 of this sections, I'm going into the drier stuff, which includes the program structure. So just to clarify, we have both structure, the face-to-face learning methods structure, as well as the online master structure. So I'm going to brief you a little bit further on these two components. So what are the differences and etc. And then lastly, we will end the session with Q&A. So after the Q&A sessions, I will be more than happy to guide you through on whatever questions you have. After that, you may then join the live class, which I'll give you the Zoom link later on for you to enjoy the class. So just to clarify, the live class, which is not taught by me, it's going to be taught by our lecturer, Dr. William, in fact. He's going to teach this session starting now, for example, and then the session will actually ends at 5 p.m. following Malaysia time. However, since you are here as a delegate, you can just join in the sessions, no problem. You can participate in the sessions. And along the way, if you feel that you want to do other things, you can actually go offline at your free will. So no obligation, just sit in and participate as much as you can when they are doing the case study learning methods in the real class later. And then if you think you want to go offline, you can just go off. Then our counselor team will make contact with you somewhere around comes Monday, yeah, just to check some feedback and so not. Okay, so basically, let's start with the first item about Mantissa. So basically, as I mentioned again, I'm Mr. Shang from Mantissa College. So I would like to also just give you a quick, brief background introduction so that you know where we are coming from and what are the achievements that we have done. So basically, we are a private institution established since 1999. It's already been 21 years, actually, located in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And basically, our existing premise, it's located in Taman Tun, Dr. Ismail. Over here, locally, we call it TDDI, where if you got the chance, you can always just drop by at TDDI. You have a lot of amenities, nice, beautiful parks, restaurants, banking facilities, even other retail shops that are nearby around the neighborhood. And of course, for those working in the house, if you like to bring or spend time with your family, of course, during this COVID-19, you just need to be a little bit cautious. There are a lot of nice parks around here, just a little bit, 5-10 minutes of walking distance, and you can reach one of the so-called Hyde Park of Malaysia within Taman Tun. Right, so in terms of the achievements, what we have done so far across these 21 years, so basically after this 21 years of establishment and our experience in handling education in Malaysia in particular, so we have successfully graduated more than 15,000 students all over the world, ranging from 50 over countries. So we have actually graduated students across all ages, all programs, starting from the Southeast Asia regions in Malaysia as well. We also graduated students from South Asia, Central Asia, African continents, or other countries as well. So we also manage a lot of undergrad and postgraduate students, whereby all these students are coming in from various industries. So in fact, we have managed a lot of students, which some of them are holding directorships from a public or private companies. Some of them are civil service officer, some of them are younger students, and etc. So in fact, we have handled a lot of students. We know all of you. So we have a lot of vast experience in handling students, and we know exactly how our education that we provide can actually help you or assist you in your current situation. So one more thing, it's basically we are proud to say that we are the only college in Malaysia that has the DBA that is fully accredited. I know today's version is all about MBA, but I'm just trying to explain that we have this achievement whereby Mantissa College is the only college status that offers business program with full accreditation from the Quality Assurance Division, which is the MQA in Malaysia. So other providers or other institutions that offers the postgraduate levels up to doctorate levels, they are mostly university colleges or university status. So for us, we are the only college status institutions in this country that provide up to this high level standards on the program with accreditation. Of course, we are also one of the largest, center graduating students for the doctorate program. Of course, the master's program as well, as we have graduated more than a few thousand students across this year. Now, moving on, so some of these achievements, basically across our 21 years of operations and service. So basically, Mantissa College, we were given a lot of series of awards, and these are some of these awards provided or awarded by the government. So which includes the Ministry of Education, government sectors, they give us all these awards across this year. Now, moving on to the next component, since this program is all about the master's program, it is always good for us to give you a quick introductions so that you know where exactly this university, which awards this master's qualification is coming from. Just to clarify, this master's program is in collaboration with the French university known as the Paris Graduate School of Management. So let me just give you a little bit background about this private university so that you can, of course, feel free to do more research after the sessions, check online, and you will find the astonishing achievements across this year. So just for information, PGSM in short, Paris Graduate School of Management, it is a private university established since 1975 in France. It is also known as the ESG group. So when you check on all this French university ranking, you may need to look up in the French name, which start with ESG or ESGCI with the current name. Of course, the French name, when you go to French website and you'd like to search for the original name that is in French, the name is called École Supérieure de Gestion. So ESG in short, for those who knows English. So we translate that in English name. It's also known as the Paris Graduate School of Management, so that it will be much familiar, the English name that is used in Commonwealth country like in Malaysia and so on and so forth will be familiar names that we can remember locally. All right. So basically, this university back in France, they have 6 campuses in France. And all of them are located in the hub of Paris, the capital of the country, and they have approximately active students around 6,000 plus at this point of time. So basically, the rankings of the university in France, basically this PGSM, or you check in the French name, is called ESGCI or ESG. It is ranked 16 over 250 universities back in France in 2019. Of course, if you check for the whole country of France itself, this university, the private university, is also ranked 30 plus business partners or collaborations across the world. So basically, their faculty members or syllabus are constantly up to date because they always gather the latest trend from the various partners across the world so that they can actually formulate the necessary case study that will be used in this master's program. Okay, now moving on to the next component on why do students want to do a master's program. Okay, so you're here today because we understand you may be keen to actually enroll for the master's program. So what are the reasons? So there are many reasons. When we did a survey with our existing students on why would you like to take a master's program. So basically, it's very simple. These are some of the conclusions that we gathered from our random survey that we asked across the 40 plus students that we have in hand just last month. So these are some of the feedback gathered or provided by our existing students. So most of the students, I would say, in fact, 70+% of our students told us that they would like to pursue a master's program because they want to actually develop advanced and flexible management skills so that they can actually use those skills that they learn from the case studies or in the lessons and applied it into their work life. So some of them are aiming for promotions. In fact, our students are coming in from various industry. In fact, if I put in numbers, it will be more than 10 plus industry. So we have students coming from banking industry, entrepreneurship, ICT, port logistic, foreign exchange, precious metals, business. They are doing cargoes business. They are doing so-called electronics solutions. We even have students coming from ambassadorship, which means they work in the embassy of a certain country, or even some of them are civil service officers, which means that they are attached with the government unit or ministries. Yeah, so these are all the students that are coming from to participate in this program. And of course, the reason why they would like to take up the master's program are due to these reasons, right? Of course, having an MBA, the other reason why students want to have an MBA, it's because of the great career change, right? So some of them are planning to do a career switch after getting the MBA. For example, if they are being attached in a particular industry and then at a certain point of time they want to change their career, they may need some of the business skills, learn up some of the business skills so that they have the necessary confidence and knowledge to actually start up their own business without having to fall into any unnecessary risk. This is very important because you do not want to start up a business yourself by pumping a lot of investment from your own saving or even loans, and then ended up with a lot of sour experiences, such as going through unnecessary bad decisions and ending up your business are not making profits. Okay, so basically another reason is because just very easy. The master's program, on generally speaking, it's very simple. It is not very difficult, to be honest. It is very much catered for working adults. This is why. This is because when we offer this master's program, our syllabus are focusing on case study. So meaning that for each and every of the subjects that we delivered, we don't just ask you to come in a class and we teach you just theory throughout. Of course, theory will be taught just for you to gain some knowledge, but ultimately the main essence of why students join our MBA program is because ultimately when we focus on a subject, we will then teach the students from the case study learning methods. So the case study learning methods, I'll show you some example later. It's actually real cases written by the company, right? It's the whole case, about 10 to 12 pages long of articles that is focusing on one companies. So in that companies, so in the case, they will tell you the history of the companies, what are the previous achievements or plans, and then what are the issues, the values. Some of them have culture if the companies are established, and some of them have these decisions by the previous management or CEO. And then the case study will actually start when they put you as the reader into the context of the manager. So meaning that you have to assume that you are the appointed person in charge or the manager in this company, right? So once you have read the history, you understand how this company works, where's the directions, what have the previous CEO have done, for example, and then you have to be put into this current situation to manage the company. So this is where we have a lot of interesting discussion. That is because moving forward, right? Moving forward after going through the case study, you are in charge of the company, and then you have to make a lot of decisions on how to spearhead the company according to direction. Of course, we have the learning outcome. I'll show you in the later slides. So these are some of the practice that you'll be drilling through again and again, right, for at least 10 subjects when you come across the business with us. So at the end of this learning techniques, basically, it will give you a wider perspective, because while you are doing the case study learning methods, it is more into a discussion series whereby the lecturers will discuss the case, analyze the case, and then you, as a reader in the class, would have to mark down all those important pointers. So later on, and when it comes to a decision stage, that is where you, with your personal experience and your industry experience, would have to give a good solution on how to solve the problem. You're forced to, in the scenario, to solve a problem for the company. And imagine that when you have those discussion, and which is participated by other of your classmates from different experiences or different backgrounds. It can be a background of private sectors, or it can be a background of civil service department, or even the industry. Students coming from banking industry would think otherwise. Students from port logistic department would think of a different solution, and so on and so on. So when you discuss something out of it, you will have a lot of explosion of ideas, whereby it not only gives you a perspective that, a solution or a problem have many solutions to look into. And then it may be good at that point of time for you to learn out what is the latest trend that are done by other companies or from other industry or from their perspective point of view, right? So these are some of the essence that you'll be learning through. And remember, this is the practice that we'll be drilling through into your program again and again, not only one time, not only 2 times, but across at least 10 times, right, throughout these master's program. So at the end of it, when you graduate from this program, you will graduate as a student who have a lot of discussions. You are good in public speaking because you are trained to, discuss. You need to stand up and then you have to discuss the case. That trains up your public speaking skill. And then leadership skills. So for certain subjects, you may also need to be the team leader. You need to spearhead and get everyone reorganized. And then you may have to discuss with other teams, for example. Or some of the skills that you can learn would be, new insights that you can gather from other peers, other classmates from different industry. So these are some of the things that you'll be learning. And that is the reason why we think a master's program, especially in case study learning methods, will give you the edge out of it. Of course, let's come back to a little bit on this, the reasons why you should actually study a master's program, because this program, it's delivered on a part-time or online basis as well. So part-time in our definition means that the subjects will be delivered on selected weekends. So we don't have weekdays classes. It's all going to be selected weekend. So for example, this weekend, this Saturday is today, and tomorrow the Sunday, the classes will be held somewhere between 10 a.m. Malaysia time up to 5 p.m. for both Saturday and Sunday. So it means that it won't affect your weekdays where you are busy with your work, you're busy with your family, and etc. And of course, please bear in mind that this class is not on every Saturday or Sunday. It's only on selected weekends. So don't worry, I'll go into the program details later together with the schedule for better understanding. Moreover, we also have this program delivered online. So meaning that if a student, you are coming from the other part of the world, due to the current COVID-19 situation, it is not so good for you to travel outside of the country. So yeah, no problem. You can also enjoy the same kind of discussion through online. That is because we have the entire sessions through online within this 2020. Of course, after the 2021, once everything gets better with the COVID-19, maybe we have the vaccine of COVID-19 earlier. Once everything gets back to normal, if you still choose to join the program via online, yes, you may continue. Because we also have the online master's program as well. All right. So lastly, why do a master's from PGSM France, basically? So the reason is very simple. If you do some research in Google and check out further, you will notice that this case study learning methods, which I think you all heard before, it's very popular with the Harvard business cases, for example. So these kind of learning approaches, right, from learning from case study, is actually popularized by French universities since the 19th century. So basically, in fact, the French within the country of France, it is the French culture that initially started the concept of learning through case study. So these, if you like some history, I can just share. Basically, the case study all started from the late Napoleon, the emperor of France previously, after the French Revolution. So at that point of time, the French emperor, the Napoleon, noticed that there are a lot of institutions in France that students just go in, study, and get a piece of paper and graduate. So he thinks that it is not a very quality education where people just go in like a factory and comes out with a piece of paper. So he revolutionized the concept of learning, whereby he's getting all the cases from the companies or industry right down into a case. And then initially the concept was to discuss with the members in politics, so that they can gather information from the public on how to solve a certain industrial issues faced by France at that point of time. But over the time, these kind of learning approaches then became case study learning approach, whereby now university or even popular university, including Harvard or Ivy League University, they are all using these learning methods because it is very efficient. That is because you will not only learn just the theory component of the business subjects, but rather you will involve yourself into the subjects, and then you will have a lot of explosive ideas, discussions, not only from yourself with the lecturer, it's not a one-to-one thingy, but rather you will have a lot of discussion with other peers as well from different backgrounds. So that will give you a very good perspective. And then I'm sure that, you know, when you spend money and time studying a program, you would like to learn something out of it, not just for the piece of paper, but you really want to learn something that you think you can apply into the company. So these kind of practical learning approaches will be one of the most efficient way to get that objective. All right, so move on to the next thing. So just a quick summary on how and why case study learning methods. As I described earlier, the case study learning methods will give you a few skills that you can't learn from a traditional kind of top-down lecturer to students kind of teaching, right? So in the case study learning environment, it basically trains you as a student the skills that you need, right, at your job place. So I'll come to those skills later. I'll show you in the slides, which I mentioned in the previous slides too, which includes which includes the leadership skills, you know, the management skill, analytics skill. Actually, we have a very systematic formula on learning from case study, which I can share with you in the later slides. And of course, let's go to point 2 first. By going through a case study learning methods, it actually helps students to be aware of the real life changes. Because when you read or graduate from a program that teaches you a theory, I'm not saying theory is not good. It is good, but sometimes when you finish learning a theory and you graduated, the duration that you spend will be, let's say, a year or 2 years, right? So what I'm trying to say is, after learning through a program which teaches you theory, at the end of your graduation, maybe, I'm just saying maybe, most of the time, whatever you have learned maybe 2 years ago, it may not be applicable in today's context. Yeah. So by the time you graduate, the things that you learn in theory may be obsolete. It's already old, outcasted, and it's not relevant. So you may not find the best use of whatever you have learned into your working experiences. However, by going through a case study learning methods, as I mentioned, you will have a lot of discussion with your friends. As I mentioned earlier and stress on, you're not going to learn only one time, but you're going to learn 10 times of the cases. So for every single subject, you will have this drilling session whereby you will have a discussion. The lecturer in the class will be the facilitator. They're not there to really teach you, but really just facilitate the session, whereby the lecturer is like the speaker of the house, whereby they will peel the questions as and when each student give your opinions. So from this kind of real life discussions from your friends, from the real life working experiences, you will always learn the latest insight. For example, recent changes will be the COVID-19. Yeah, it hits everyone so badly, where people from various parts of the world are now starting to work from home. It's becoming a trend of the year of 2020, which you can see these are the latest changes in the workplace environment. And then, of course, when you have the case study learning method session, that is where you and your friends can discuss, this is the latest trend that's happening to the company. So what have your company done to save costs? So you can see and hear, for example, different perspective. So some companies or people or friends from different world will have different solution. Yeah. So these are some of the latest insight you can always get from time to time, so that by the time you graduate from this program in this 12 months or 24 months program, by the time you graduate from this, you will end up with getting all the latest insight. You are not getting the old information that were written some years ago. So these are some of the advantages that you can get out of the case study learning methods. Now, the third reason why case study learning methods works, that's because the case study learning methods will allow students to think about the application of theories, concept into the actual business scenario. As I mentioned, this master's program is still an academic program. Yeah. When we say academic program, it means that you will still need to learn some business theory for the respective subjects. Then you will need to try and apply the theory into the company situation, so that by going through this practice, you know how to relate. Yeah, you will know how to relate the theories that you have learned and applied it into your company. So as I say, each of these theories will be written by the respective field, what they call experts. So for marketing theories, you will learn out some of the marketing theories. And then in the case study, you will need to actually apply those skills that you have learned and apply it within the company. So these are some of the more a blended approach whereby not only you will learn out a theory, but also you know how to apply it, so that you can create a more efficient so-called working environment for your company or even your establishment. So these are some of the reasons why case study learning methods works for students. Okay, now moving on to the next sections, which is on the skills that the students can actually learn when you are going through a case study learning methods. As I keep on stressing just now, the essence of why students should go through a case study learning methods is because at the end of this lessons, right, at the end of these 12 months or even 24 months of program, you will end up with being students that are ready for the real world. How? These are some of the skills we noticed that are lack, from students who graduated from university or programs, and they find it hard to adapt to the real world because they may have lacking of this skill. So by going through the case study learning methods, we will force the students to go through this environment again and again for at least 10 times, so you will get used to it. So at the end of it, these are some of the skills we would like to see our students to take and appreciate at the end of it. So some of these will be the problem-solving skill. As I mentioned, when you go through the case study learning methods, they are only throwing you some history as well as issues. So you are in charge of this situation in a case, and then you are required to come out and formulate ideas to solve the problem. This is very much practical. This is very much practical to your company, because if you are looking to upscale your position, if you're now working, you're planning to get a promotion. Promotion means more responsibility, more portfolio, and we can't run away from problem solving. So when you are put in the positions to solve problems, even like a prime minister, for example, of good positions, his or her job is all about solving the national problem. The same thing goes in company context. When you're looking to be upgraded or promoted, your task given by the company, it's all about solving the problem. So when you go through the case study learning methods, the only objective that you need to learn through is to know how to solve the company forward and make a clear directions. This is the most important tools that we want the students to appreciate out of this program. The second skills that we would like students to take away from this program will be the analytical approach and thinking. So you have to be, we are preparing students to be analytical in terms of quantitative and qualitative, which means they are sensible to figures and also the quality or productions based on the company. So because this is very important, because as a person in a top company, for example, not only you need to know how to solve problem, but in a very much cost-efficient way. Because we have to admit that resources are limited in every organization. It can be time resources that you can't use money to buy, or human resources, or even financial resources, or other resources that we don't have. So when we are forced to work in a limited resources environment, it can be a new setup company or even established company, you will have this issue. So you as a leader, when you're trying to solve problems, we need to be realistic. We need to know and analyze, what is our company current situations or conditions, and how do we use the current conditions or limitation in terms of quantitative or qualitative conditions. As I mentioned, these two would be either the time factors, human resources, or even financial, for example, to solve the necessary problem. So these are some of the thinking skill and analyzing skill we would like students to have before you make your decisions. Moving on to the third skills we would like students to learn would be the decision-making skills. So in the case, we have to be frank. In the real company, when you are going to work, you are not going to be bombarded with just one case at the point of time. We have to be frank, whereby, I think everyone in working life, you experienced this before, whereby you are doing something and suddenly you have one issue coming up. And while you're doing that issue, you have issues 2, issues 3 coming concurrently. So you're being bombarded with many issues at the same point of time. Now, this is what we call the stress test. That's because in real life, this is what happened. When you're dealing on something and suddenly another department will call you and say, hey, Harry, that's another issue. And then customer call you, and then you have another issue, and so on. So when you are given a very complex case that you need to solve, right, or issues, you need to know how to prioritize that issue. For example, this is what we want students to learn. in a case study, when you read through the 10 or 12 pages of cases, you will notice that, oh my goodness, the company have a lot of issues at that time. So now, this is the realistic issues that all companies will face. The question is, how are you as the manager would be put in charge to solve this problem? That is what we call a decision-making skill. You need to reorganize this problem in your own standards and thinking. And then what we like students to do is known as the organizing skill. There are 10 issues, but we like you to know the Pareto effect. The Pareto effect means that, out of the 10 issues, you need to prioritize the top 2 important issues. Meanwhile, the other smaller issues, we call them the noises. The noises, you need to cluster them as the rest of the 80%. So it means that you need to know, out of the 10 issues, how to prioritize the important and urgent tasks, right? Rather than doing everything at the same time, right? So being a good leader means that you need to undergo stress, necessary stress, and then from the stress and limitations given in a company or situations, you need to make the necessary good decisions. So these are some of the skills that we will train you across these master's classes and the case studies, and you will learn quite a lot on how to manage this stress test, right? The next thing would be coping with ambiguities. So as I mentioned earlier on, it's all about noises, ambiguities. You have a lot of disturbances. Suddenly, finance departments flagging issues, productions departments flagging issues, government liaisons, licensing departments flagging issues. What should you do, right? So these are some of the cases that you will go through when you have multiple issues concurrently, and then you need to actually solve it. So probably there are many solutions you can do to solve the cases, such as, you need to reorganize, as I mentioned, that is one solution. Or we call it the Pareto solutions effect, whereby solving 20% of the issues would eventually create a domino effect that can subside the rest of the effects. So this is possible depending on the situation of the case. So these are some of the learning skills that we would like students to take away at the end of this program. The next thing would be the public speaking skill. This is very important. You like to get promotions, so there's no way for anyone being a top brass in a company and you remain passive in your office. So sometimes due to PR, public relations, a top brass is required to give public speaking. You need to address the publics or even investors or even the board of directors or customers and so on and so on. So public speaking skills, it's something that we like students to learn. So in the class scenario, while you're doing the case study, once, as I mentioned, you have discussed the solutions and the ideas with your friends, it will come to a time whereby you or being a member of the group would need to stand up and give your opinion. So it's going to be like a similar to a debate structures, whereby if you are in group A, until your time, if you're a member, until your turn, you need to stand out and give your justification on the case. While you're giving justification, it's not just about giving speeches, but rather after you have given out your opinion, your group's opinion, then remember the lecturer being a facilitator will start the peeling process. The peeling process is the lecturer will always try to challenge whatever solutions you have so that it triggers you to think more, a more round-rounded solution. So for example, if you say, the solutions that consensus by our team is to reduce the cost for manpower, we want to create more manpower problem, then the lecturer will give you a peeling process questions such as what would be the contract terms when the company breaches. So meaning that when the staff came here, they have a contract of service, and then now suddenly you want to dismiss them. Would that trigger a labor issues that your company may be falling into problems? And what are you going to do? Yeah, compensation packages, let's say. So these are some of these solutions that you need to think. So you will not just give out one ideas, but rather your ideas will be challenged across various aspects that will assist you and the team members to think in a wider scope. So this is very much important because in the real world, this is what happened. When you try to solve one problem, we understand you can't satisfy everyone, but rather you have to think as much as everyone's interest so that you can minimize and move on to the next issues as soon as possible. So these are some of the skills that we would like students to take away at the end of this learning approach. right? The last one would be the leadership potential. Leadership potential, as I mentioned, would be, after going through the case study over and over time, maybe by the time you step into the 5th cases or 6th case, you have the confidence to take your team. So again, the same approach, when a case has been discussed in the class, maybe you have gone through 4 to 5 subjects with the cases, and that will comes to a time whereby you feel that you have a confidence, you want to try to be the leader of the team. Yes, you need to spearhead and you have to reorganize. So when you have a team member in your team in the class, that's where you can delegate the tasks, like member A, you need to focus on the financial aspect. You need to talk about that thing. What are we going to talk about it? Again, being a leader is not just throwing a task and then let them be, but rather being a leader is you have to throw a task, you must do constant check, get the necessary feedback, so that you know that whatever team members what are they doing are all in line with the company vision. So this is some of the aspect that you can learn out of the case study learning approach. All right, so let's move on to example. So I'd like to give you an example on a case study. This is basically a case study used in the previous session. It's on the international marketing. So that would give you a teaser on how a case study works. So basically, this case study started like this. So the case study says that it is actually a French company, right? You represent a French company, which the business of this French company is making electronic parts. So the headquarter is now based in France. They have strong traditions. They have been operating for 3 generations, and the model of success in Europe, or in France in particular, it's because of the quality productions, meaning that whatever microchips that's been produced by this company, they always have less than 5% of rejections or malfunctions. So this is the core value of success of this company back in Europe. Now, the company, this French company, have decided to actually expand the business in Asia region. So they actually pinpoints now to want to set up a company in Vietnam in particularly. So the reason of why they want to go there is because, first of all, Vietnam used to be a French colony, so people are very familiar with the French products, so they want to establish the base there. And more importantly, it's because the company would like to actually expand the market into Asia region. So because there's another company called the company B that is also their competitors back in Europe, were there in France 5 years before these companies steps in. So basically, they have seen the competitors in Asia, it's very successful, and now your company would like to take a so-called piece of cake out of it, a share out of it. So they actually want to expand the business, and you, as a reader of the case, are put in charge for the entire operation in Asia. So the cases starts like this when you are being appointed as the head of directors of the Asia region. So you're being assigned with the objective to secure the market share in Asia. So you have recently just spent the first lump of budget from the HQ to set up your plant, hire all the local staff, and even get the licensing ready. Yeah. So this is the story. So you have set up the first budget and set up everything is all ready and ready for production. Now the problems now starts in whereby the first director comes to you and says, now we need to request budget from the HQ. It's because we need this second budget to do marketing. It is time to hit market. We need to quickly rush whatever we have lost in the last 5 years. We need to do marketing. Now, the other manager, the manager B, came to you, and now they requested the budget to do R&D. They noticed that this manager B noticed that, oh, most devices in Asia are different, right? The codes, the formats are different. So whatever we take directly from France may not work with the devices here in Asia. So we need a second budget to do research and development. We need to do compilation. We need to study the situation. We need to customize our solution for the Asian market. And then we need the third budget, right? The third budget from HQ to do marketing. So now you're given 2 options on the table. The first option is, we don't care much about production because it takes more time. We have lose 5 years. So we need the budget to quickly do marketing. We get agents, we get retailers to do our marketing, sell our products. This is what we need to do. That's proposed by manager A. The manager B now says, We need second budget, more money, more time to do research. And then the budget 3, right? Third budget to get more money to do marketing. So it means that by going through the proposal by manager number 2, you will spend more money, more time to do marketing, which is not certain. You don't even know if you can succeed in Asian market. So given these 2 scenarios, what would you do? So this is the example on the case study whereby students will start discussing in the class, right? So what will you do? You're given in positions, you have these situations. Now, everything can be debated. So everything will be discussed in a class whereby, students at the end, whatever reasons you give, doesn't matter you think that manager A proposal is good or B, you need to support it with your own justification, right? There's no right and wrong answer. There's no right and wrong answer. And of course, you need to justify it. So for example, if any students who opt out for the options 1 saying that, yeah, we need to do marketing, let's do the market and so on and so forth. And then you will be challenged by another team by asking them questions such as, what if later on, whatever you produce it is not compatible with the Asian devices. You will only end up with a lot of rejection rate, return rate, and then your reputation will be gone. So this is going against the culture of the French company in HQ, whereby they have developed this business for many years. All right, they have successfully created an image that they are one of the top producing electronic companies that doesn't have rejection rates that high. But what if whatever you are doing now, you will spoil the HQ image? Yeah, this is the possibility that you will encounter when you go for options A. Now, for those students who go for option B means that you need second sum of budgets to do research, the third sum to do marketing. Then you will be challenged as well. For example, students will be asking, why are we spending more time? We have lost the market. The company B in France is now in Asia for the last 5 years. They are now capturing 70% of the market. If you are entering now and you are still wasting time for research, by the time you finish your research, that will take another 1 or 2 years. What about our expenses, our staff? They are not doing anything. Are you going to dismiss the contract? You need to pay them compensation while you're doing a research. Only then you rehire them. It's not a very good solution as well. So what are you going to do? So these are some of the things that you'll be going through with the pilling process. We'll go through this discussion again and again. Then ultimately, you will have to come up with your decision. So there are steps and formula for you to go through the cases. And ultimately, once you know exactly what you need to do, and then you need to express your answers into the case exam at the later stage. So this is the example on how a case study learning method works. It is very interesting because you will have a lot of time discussing this thing and you will never have a satisfactory answer. Of course, you will have decisions that you need to make. But being frank that this is the life in the real company, that you need to always measure between profitable, efficiency, and even return of investment. These are some of the things that you need to learn. And of course, you need to balance all these elements accordingly. So these are some of the skills that students will take away at the end of this learning. Imagine that you'll be going through a similar kind of practice for all 10 cases across this program. At the end of it, you will get a wide perspective on how to manage a business efficiently. Okay, now move on to a different thing. So this is the formula. Basically, as I mentioned, this is just a brief formula. It's a guide. So when students go through any cases throughout this program, you're required to go through with these guidelines. So for example, you need to know how to identify the issue. What's the issues of this case? The second would be the goals and analysis. So what is the goals of this business now, right? So for example, you need to analyze it, and state your goals. The third will be the context of the problem. What is the main problems now, right? When you read through the cases, for example, the French electronic companies, what is the main problems now? So each solution will have their own individual problems, and you need to balance it. And then number 4, what key facts should you consider? Are you talking about the financial consideration or the time factors consideration or even reputation? So these are some of the factors that a good decision maker needs to take, right? Needs to make before you make your decision. The next one would be an alternative. Is there any other alternative rather than going so straight on? Is there any blended solution? Right? If you can take out of it, you can create a blended solutions to solve this issue. So you need to discuss with your peers, and then come up with a blended solution if possible. The last one would be your recommendations. At the end of this program, we need to finalize it by asking you a direct question. What is your solution and why? So you need to give a very good justification. What is your solution and why did you make these decisions? And of course, you have to take the aspect of all areas, when you make your decision. So these are some of the skills that is very practical, that is very relevant to the company or even real life that we will train you and prepare for. Okay, so now let's go into some of the drier stuff, which includes the program briefing. I'm going to guide you through. So previously, in the previous slides, I've been talking a little bit about the background of Mantissa, the university, why case study approaches. So now I'll just talk a little bit on the dry stuff on this master's program. All right. So basically, all these case study learning methods that I've just shared with you will be the component of this master's program. In fact, for all this entire program, you'll be going through the case study. And of course, it is good for me to just touch on a little bit on the dry stuff for better understanding. So just for information, this program that I've been sharing with you this morning, it's deriving from the Masters of Business Administration program, the MBA, which is in collaboration, as I mentioned and shared earlier, from the French university known as the Paris Graduate School of Management. In short, we just call it PGSM. All right. So meaning that for students, after completing this program with us, you will be getting a French awarded master's qualification. It will not mention anything about Mantissa. It will not mention anything about Malaysia. Or if you are taking the online structure, it will not mention anything about online structure. So it will look as if the entire qualification is awarded by the French university. Of course, don't worry, although this is a French awarded qualification, the entire syllabus means that all the subjects, all the assessment, all the assignment, all the exams, for example, case study exam, will all be done in English only. So you are not required to write in French. Everything will be in English written language only, right? So in terms of the offerings of the program, how long do you need to finish this? So we have two structure. One is the face-to-face structure. Of course, just to clarify, during now, because of COVID-19 here in Malaysia, until the end of this year, all the classes are now held online. But by next year, January 2021, if everything gets better with the COVID-19, then for those students who sign up for the face-to-face program, you can then join and participate the face-to-face sessions in our premise in Taman 2, right? So for those students who are going for the face-to-face learning approach, your study duration will be minimum 3 semesters or maximum 6 semesters. Just to clarify, in a year, we have 3 major semesters. We call that the January semesters, number 1. Number 2 will be the April semesters. Number 3 will be the August. January, April, August, January, April, August. So these are the 3 intakes or semester we have in a year. So when we mention minimum 3 years, it means that students can complete this program in minimum 1 year, so-called, or maximum 2 years, depending on your progression. Or the other hand, as I mentioned, the mode of study. For those foreign students or students from outside Kuala Lumpur, if you wish to join this program via online, you can also do so. That is what we call the online mode. The online mode will give you a study duration between 12 months to 24 months. So that's because online structure, your structure goes a little bit different later, I explain, but your study duration is about the same, 12 months to 24 months. Now, the subject itself, the entire program, in order for you to get the master's certificates and transcript, a student must complete all the 12 subjects within the syllabus. So just to clarify, the 12 subjects will be separated into 2 sections. We call it Part A, which consists all the 10 core subjects. I'm going to highlight here, 10 core subjects with lectures, and then followed by the Part 2, which includes the research methods and also your master's project. So basically this one, whatever I highlight here now, is known as a singular component of your master's project. Now back to the 10 core subjects. So these 10 core subjects will be offered and delivered to students in a modular basis, regardless if you are going for a face-to-face or online structure. So meaning that you'll be given a schedule and each subject will be offered at a single point of month and time in a month. So meaning that, let me give you an example on the schedule for better understanding. So assuming that the students are joining in for the December class, for example. So in the month of December, you have 4 weekends. So students, when you join in, you'll be taking subjects A. We call it subject 1. So the subjects 1, you need to attend the classes from morning 10 o'clock to 5 p.m. following Malaysia time. Yeah. Then later on across the weekend 2 to 3, you have no classes. So we call it the self-learning classes sections. So those are the time you can free off for your work or family commitments, your lifestyle balance. So in between of this time, if you need to have discussion with the lecturers, you can always come back within the weekend 2 and 3 to discuss with the lecturer, right? Otherwise, if everything is good, just remember weekend number 4, you need to do 2 things. One is the case study examination. So just to clarify, the case study examination is where I described just now. You are allowed to bring in your textbook and cases. Whatever you have discussed and think of what is your decisions, you need to express your decisions during that examination. Just remember, the examination is not like the degree kind of exam whereby you need to memorize. No, it's not like that. So you're allowed to bring in textbook, you're allowed to bring in your cases with your scripting notes. So when you come in, it's all about, expressing your ideas, your decisions. So they will be tested on your decision. So when you sit down, you need to write, what is my outcome? This is what I've decided and why. And then you need to write that. Of course, as I mentioned, this has been an academic program. You are still required to refer some business theory from the textbook. That's why you're allowed to bring in and use that business model that you think is appropriate, and you can apply it into. So meaning that you can open your textbook and write whatever theories that you think is correct into by just referring in the exam hall. That is allowed. But ultimately, you need to give your justification, meaning that you have discussed the matter, you decided this is what you need to do, and then you need to stress your opinion. Well, the opinion part is something that you cannot copy from a textbook because that is very much subjective depending on every individual's decisions, right? So this is the learning approach that we will go through for one subject. Once you understand this concept, all you need to do is just to repeat that process again for another 1 month. We call it subjects B and so on. In fact, for all the 10 subjects here, the arrangement of the times table will be similar, or I would say it's exactly that approach, whatever I just mentioned in the previous slides. Okay, so later on, the one research and project, basically it's very straightforward. The one research and project is basically referring to your master's project. That is where you're required to write a project. At the master's level, I always stress to students, it is not a PhD or thesis. You don't have to write 100,000 pages. It's only 8,000 words, 8,000 words, right? 8,000 words of projects that you can actually write in terms of research. So for example, if you like to do some, a topic relating to your business. So let's say you are doing a business and you want to apply, let's say, some theories or research on your business, you can actually use that and write it in your business project sections. So during that time, you will be working on a one-to-one basis. It's going to be the one-to-one kind of teaching, whereby you need to work with your supervisor to get the things done. So a so-called chart will be given to students so that in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, this is the contents that I need to write. So just briefly write through with the skeleton, and then we would go through a series of checks and make sure that whatever you write, it makes sense. Then you proceed to chapter 2 and so on and so on. So these are some of the things that you'll be going through with the one-to-one guidance on the master's project. So at the end of it, there's no need for massive presentation. So you need to just present and briefly guide through the lecturers at the end of your master's project, brief through the panels on, these are some of my research. Then they will ask you basic questions like, what is the issues? Why are you doing this research? And what have you found out? And what's your solution? Now, these kind of basic issues that will be posted at the master's level. As I stressed, this is not a thesis. Don't take it too hard or serious. You don't have to write a lot. It's only 8,000 words in 6 months. So you're given a 6 months roughly to do this. It's quite a standard time, but if you wish to expand it or even reduce the time frame, you can actually do so. But usually, based on our experience, it is very much more easier and comfortable for students to write your thesis in 6 months. But as I say, it is up to the students. If you think you can finish this earlier, yes, you can actually shorten down your duration as well. All right. So one more thing about this program is about the accreditation. For Malaysian students in particularly, if you have completed this program, if later on in the future, once you receive this master's, you want to work with the government of Malaysia, for example, or you want to go for lecturing positions in universities or colleges in Malaysia, yes, this program is fully accredited by the Quality Assurance Ministry, which is the MQA, the Malaysia Qualifications Agency. So this is the reference number, because this program has been audited by the government for many times, for the last 10 years, many times. So yeah, so reassured that the quality assurance of this program is there. The learning outcome, the formats of learning and assessments are all in line with the national academic standards. All right, so moving on to the entry requirements. So basically, it's very straightforward. Candidates who are keen to apply for this, you need to possess at least a degree qualifications to apply. And of course, if you have other experiences, yes, that can be acceptable as well. We will brief you through, and you just need to submit documents to us, which I can cover that later on the how to apply slides following this page. All right. So moving on, what next? Okay, about the fee structure, I'll just briefly touch on. So we offers the unique fee structures to students, whereby you as a student will have to decide what is your fee. We don't have the fixed price basically, but we are going to just tell you some of the basics on how we charge, and then you yourself will decide what is your total cost fee. So there are three structures. Now let's go through the first one. The first one is catered for Malaysian students and also international students who prefer a face-to-face lecture, or for foreign students if you wish to apply for a student visa and study with us. So if that's the case, so sorry, I should delete this. This is actually based on Malaysian candidates for a face-to-face learning, sorry. So for Malaysian face-to-face learning, yes, you can actually enjoy this program by following this fee structure. So as mentioned earlier, we have three major semesters in a year, namely the January semesters, April semesters, and also August semesters. So what happened is, assuming that the students were to join the program in January 2021, for example, so in the first semester, the student just need to pay a 5,000 ringgit fee for your first semesters. Then later on in the subsequent semester in April, in August, and the next year, January, April, August, for example, every semester we would just charge the students 4,500. As I mentioned earlier, so if the students are able to complete this program in 1 year, so your cost fee is very simple. First sem 5,000, second and third sem is just 4,500 each. That is your total cost fee. Compared to another student, if they need the fourth semester, fifth semester, or sixth semester, you just add the maths up to make out the figures accordingly. All right. The second structure is catered for international students who wants to apply for student visa. So if you are applying for student visa, the same concepts apply. We have 3 semesters in a year, the first semesters, second and third, so we follow the same calculations accordingly. All right. Now, the third structure would be those students who would like to opt out for the online master's program. As I mentioned, online basically, okay, what do online means? Online, it's catering for both Malaysian and foreign students who wish to join this program, and everything will be done online, meaning that your classes, your discussion, even your exam, your case study exam will be purely done online. So what we're trying to say is, even by next year, 2021, after the COVID-19 gets better, when other students, they are allowed to come back for a face-to-face class, for example, if you're going for the online track, you still prefer to learn through online, yes, you are very much suitable for this online program, then this fee will be applicable to you. So under the online structure, please take note that you're not being charged by semester basis, but rather you will be charged on a monthly basis for online structure student. So how does it work? It's very simple. As I described earlier, for online structure, your minimum duration is 12 months and the maximum is 24 months. So for online structure, in the first month, for example, you join the class in January 2021. In the first month in January, you pay a one-time 3,000 ringgit. That is all. And later on by February, March, and so on, for every single month, you just need to pay 1,000 ringgit per month until you complete this program. The same thing goes for the rest of the structure. The definition of complete means that you have successfully completed all these 12 subjects in total. That is the definition of complete. Yeah. So as long as the students, when you are studying, sometimes due to work you defer, you are not taking subjects. So that's the reason why you need to extend your study duration. That may be one of the reasons why you would need to pay more as and when you drag your study duration under this program. Yeah, so this is very straightforward and simple. And of course, this is what we are introducing now. It's very straightforward for all categories of candidates. All right, moving on, what next? So if you'd like to apply for this program, so just for information, the next intake will start on the 30th of January 2021. There's no intake in December, unfortunately. So if you wish to join the intakes in January 21, here are some of the steps for you to complete your admission process. First, if you need me or our program consultant team to get in touch with you right now, in the comment box here, you can just type number 1 and then press enter to comment it, so that you can. It means that you are waving your hand, and then we will try to speak to you immediately. Otherwise, if you think everything is good, so if you're ready to apply with us, all you need to do is just to email us the following documents, or you can even WhatsApp to this number provided. That's my contact number. So these are some of the documents that you need to provide, such as the scanned copy of your degree certificates, the scanned copy of your transcript, or we call it the grade sheets. The third is your latest CV. And of course, if you are a foreign applicant, we appreciate you can also scan to us additional documents, which includes your passport profile page for verification use. Yeah, so these are some of the documents that we need for students to apply into this program. Okay, so what happened is, once we have received this document, doesn't matter if it's from emails or from WhatsApp, my job is I will send this to the admission team right away. Comes Monday, because today is Saturday, so the office is closed, but comes Monday, I'll send it right away. And then please give us 2 working days. We'll try to get back to you within Wednesday or Thursday next week to come up with the outcome of your application. So no fees is charged, don't worry. So if everything looks good, your documents, everything matches accordingly, then the admission team will give you the condition of a letter. So a condition of a letter, so that it tells you that the university have accepted you into this program, and then waiting for your next course of actions. All right, so moving on, what next? So if you have anything else, you can just feel free to write in this comment box. I'll be more than happy to guide you through. And otherwise, for the rest of the students, just give me a moment, that's a typo. Yeah, for the rest of the students, if you're ready to join the trial class today, that is conducted by Dr. William on the subjects matter, then what you need to do, just give me a moment, you're required to just click this link. I'm going to copy this link. Just give me a moment. Okay, just give me a moment, sorry. I just want to make sure everything is good. Okay, you're required to just copy this link and then paste it. Hold on, let me just get this done. All right, you will see now in the comment box, that's a link, right? In the comment box, that's a link. So what you need to do for those students who are ready to join the live trial class, which is by Zoom, not this platform now, I'm going to end it shortly. So you need to click this link provided in the comment box, and then it will comes up to a form. So in the form, you just need to take your attendance by giving out your name, for example, contact number and email, so that once you have filled that up, immediately the screen will give you the link, the Zoom link, together with the Zoom password. That's for you to join the live class via Zoom. And alternatively, you will also, once you have filled out the form, you will also receive an email, automated email, with the same information, which includes the Zoom link and also the Zoom password for you to join the session. Of course, once you are in these sessions, we appreciate, because we may be mixing up with some of the students, so we appreciate you can just add the word guest in the front, and this is your name. So just put guest dash your name, so that the lecturer knows this is you, that you're coming in. Okay. So is there any other questions I can assist you for now? So if you have any questions, just feel free to write in the comment box. I'll be more than happy to actually address all the questions you have. Otherwise, if you don't have any questions for now, don't worry. So you can always just write a WhatsApp to me. Some of you are in the WhatsApp group. I'll just send a reminder to you in the WhatsApp group. You can always just reply me with the numbers provided, and I'll be more than happy to actually assist you for that. All right. So from now, for those students who are ready to apply, just to recap again, just email us the necessary documents, or you can WhatsApp to us the following documents, and comes Wednesday, you will get your results. All right. And for those students who are ready to join the MBA trial class, to enter the real class, you can actually do so by clicking the links in the comment box below, fill up this attendance form, and then you will get the automated response immediately. And of course, don't worry, this session, the live class, once you join, is going to be there until 5 p.m. So in the events that you want to go in and out, you may do so, don't worry. Or if you have sat in the class and you want to leave early, you can just exit the group, no problem. It's fine, because that is the real class. So you just need to sit in. You can participate if you want, no problem. Just enjoy the session. So by coming Monday, we will get in touch with you. If you have any questions, we'll be more than happy to actually assist you from there. Okay, so just wonder, I'm almost done with this sharing session in the first phase. If you have any questions, just feel free to comment in the comment box. I'll be more than happy to guide you through or address the questions. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure for me sharing this useful information with you. And of course, you can always feel free to reach out to us by this contact or by my contact in WhatsApp. I'll be more than happy to assist you from there. All right. So if there's no more questions, thank you so much. I'm going to end this live broadcast. And of course, for those students who have filled up this form, enjoy your trial class accordingly. All right. Take care. Have a great weekend.